Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm delighted you're here. Join me for conversations and inspirations for creating way more in every area of your life and living. Welcome, everybody, to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm here this week with the amazing and lovely Amy Shine. Amy is an access consciousness facilitator. She's a 3-day body class facilitator, talk to the Entities Facilitator, a right recovery for you facilitator, and also facilitates a lot of movement. And just a really amazing person all around. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here.
Thank you for the lovely introduction.
You're welcome. Yeah. So we were just before we got on, we were like, let's just talk about bodies and movement. And oh my gosh, like we both actually, well, you know, it just popped for me too, is like we both love bodies and we both love our bodies, which isn't always a thing, you know?
Really
So
let's look at that for a second. First of all,
yeah.
I just want to say it's really funny because your podcast is called Creation of Living. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, can you actually like how many people like don't like their bodies? And how do you even create like living as a joyful thing if you don't even enjoy your body? Because if you
Exactly.
didn't have a body, you wouldn't be living.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Creation of Living is also a class that I do. It's like a 3-day class that I do. And there's a huge focus on bodies in that class and like hedonism and pleasure and like getting more in touch with your body. And we do movement and we go out into the world and we like and just play with creation of all kinds of different aspects of life in a way like but including your body and the pleasure of it. So
Yeah,
yes.
and it's like if you didn't have a body, you wouldn't have any of that. You wouldn't require any of that.
Exactly.
And it's
Talk
like
more about that.
well, it's always been kind of weird to me. Like I guess I always was like, I don't know, it was weird. I guess I always knew there was a gift to having a body. Like I guess I
Mhm.
always was like, no, my body is the key. Like my body is the thing here. And I always found it really interesting, like the amount of people who like struggled so much with their bodies.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to even watch growing up. Like I even had that moment where I started inventing judgments with my body because I knew I needed to fit in. Like I remember
Wow.
that moment where it was like I think I was about 9 or 10 years old, and there was like a bunch of girls. I remember even us where we were standing down at the bridge in Mallow, and there was a bunch of girls around me at the time, and they were like they all had the thing that they were judging about their bodies, whichever whatever it was, like their boobs or their lack of boobs or their legs or whatever. And I remember
Mhm.
looking at my body going, oh God, what do I have? And I remember looking down. I remember at the time being like, oh, I have a little bit of a pot belly, you know? I didn't. I had like a total flat belly, but I was like, yeah, I don't like my belly. And I invented the judgment that day because it was like, I need
Wow.
to have something here to fit in.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, and that kind of, to me, that really ties into, I've been having a lot of X-Men conversations I just finished a 6-day celebration of difference. It was like a free video series on talking about X-Men and people that are different and people that function differently than the rest of the world. And that's one of the things about X-Men is that they don't inherently like have judgment as a reality, or like know how to judge, but we perceive it dynamically. And then by perceiving it, we learn how to do it. And we look around the world. Like one of the things I talked about is how we look around the world and we're like, oh, okay, well, I guess just like you did, where you were like, oh, I'm supposed to have a judgment in my body. I didn't know that. Okay, let me make one up.
Let me find one. I remember at the time Britney Spears had, Hit Me Baby One More Time was her first song that was out. And she had the cute belly top and the skirt. And I remember just being like, oh my God, her body is amazing. Like being so inspired by her. And then I think because she had like the midriff, I was like, oh, my belly's not like hers. So I'll create the judgment here to fit in with this
Yeah.
group girl friends or whatever. But you know what the interesting thing was, Heather, was to I know this now because of access, thanks to access and the tools of access that gives you so much more awareness. But what I realized was it wasn't mine. I had to invent that judgment to fit in. But how intense I made that judgment from that point until I would say like my early 20s. And
Wow.
like so then my stomach became my focal point. So it was always like, oh, I don't have a flat belly. Oh, no matter what food I eat. Oh, whatever. So it became like the problem area, you know?
Mm,
And it was interesting to watch over the years, like how that just the intensity of the invention of the judgment and how it
mhm.
progressed and how it became so intense because it was never real to begin with.
Yeah, and you have to work hard to maintain it, and then you end up like projecting that on your body or whatever it is that you're judging and creating that, and it's we're powerful mofos.
Yeah, amazing. And I remember I was in a class one time with Dane, and I think I had to like, I don't know, I think I yawned or stretched my hands one of the first classes I went to, and he was like, "Oh, show me your belly button," and I was like, "Oh my God," like, you know. But it was so funny because he showed me the energy of like the joy with bodies, and I was like, "Oh, this was never my point of view. Like
Yeah,
this was never a problem area for me. I just invented it."
yeah,
And it's also like it's not real.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're somewhere where you know like you were just inventing this.
yeah.
It seems
So
to be real, but really,
yeah,
if you look at the judgments you have of your body right now, like is that real? Like do you really have that judgment? Or where did you actually invent that? Because it's like if you actually sat with it and be like, okay, like, do I really have a big belly? Is it really
mhm,
like, and got really pragmatic with yourself, or even the stuff you tell yourself like that, you're not sexual or you're not orgasmic. If you actually got present with that and actually challenge the shit that goes on in your head, you actually might start to get into what's true about you.
yeah. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how do you work with that? Like, like, what you've done with those judgments, like once you realized, I mean, when we've, access consciousness is an amazing tool, like body of work, huge body of work for really looking at how judgment operates in all areas of our lives and how we function from judgment and the world functions from judgment and what that creates and diminishes really. um so what did you how have you worked with that, like when you realize that you just invented that judgment? Then, I mean, I know some of what you just said is brilliant, like just get present with it and be like, is this actually true? um what else, like what other tools
Well,
have
I
you
also
used?
think like the first thing too was like that I had to like you have to like stop comparing yourself to other people, like stop looking at other people, because it was always like, oh well, I don't look like that person. Like and it could be like a physical thing about your body, but you're talking about the hedonism of living. And like
Mhm.
one of the things, growing up, I always felt like that other girls were more sexual than me, which like I don't know how it was like for you growing up, but like where it was always like there was always like that person who was talking about all the sex they had and all the orgasms, and then you always felt very inadequate next to them. You always thought that
This is
everyone else,
probably the least sexual person in the mix, right?
you always felt like all these people were having all these amazing orgasms, and you were like, oh, I don't really orgasm at all, so I must not be orgasmic. And that's where
Yeah,
you start killing like these like you said, these energies that allow you to create your life and now you have this joy of living, because you start saying, well, I don't look, my belly isn't like Britney Spears, or I'm not having the orgasms this girl is talking about, or I'm not having the kind of sex they're talking about. And you start comparing and judging yourself based on other people, what other people are saying, and a lot of what other people are saying is not even true or
yeah,
not congruent.
yeah.
And I actually remember being out one night dancing with actually Susanna Mittermeier. We were in she came to Ireland to do a class, and the next day in class, I said something to her about not being orgasmic, and she was like, or not. I said to her like, oh, like I haven't, because I went through a good few years where I didn't actually copulate with anyone, like I had no sex, and I said something to her about that because I had a judgment of that I wasn't you know, that I wasn't being orgasmic because I wasn't copulating.
Mm.
She's like, I saw you dance last night. You were having sex. The energy I was with my body. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So I have that energy with my body when I move, but then I judge me for not being like everyone else because I'm not out having copulation.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is one of the places where we just so diminish what our bodies are capable of, and the reality that we have with our bodies, um, because we think it has to look a certain way. And I would say for me too, like, movement has always been really orgasmic for me. And it can actually be any kind of, like, it doesn't even have to be dancing. Like, it can just be like moving around my kitchen, like I'm just, and we both facilitate movement, and I facilitated movement, pretty full time for like 13 years. And was always like, my whole focus was like, get like being really with your body while you're moving, and facilitating other people to do that, and doing that myself. And I'm so grateful for that, because I would say a capacity that I've always had, that I came in with when I was born, but also something that I've really developed over time. And I didn't actually realize that that wasn't a reality for other people. I was like, wait, what? Like, it feels really good to have a body and like move. And, like, even when I'm brushing my teeth, I can like feel my muscles and my ribs. And, like, wait, what? It's fun, but yeah, no, that's not most people's realities with
Well, I wonder though,
bodies.
it's like interesting because you said you came in with this, you said I came in with this capacity and then I developed it, you know, but like I always wonder about that too. Like I was like, don't all bodies want to move? Like
Yeah.
I was like, at one time I was like, do I have a point of view that all bodies should move? Because I was like, don't all bodies want to move? Like, you know, and but if you look at like kids, like before they start, you know, being doing judgment, like probably what, before the age of 3, 2 or 3, like they move a lot. Like even
Yeah.
take like you as a 3-year old, did you lie down all day?
I
Like
never stopped moving.
yeah, I mean, is there 3-year-olds who stay still all day? Like I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I don't
No,
think that's a
no.
like so I wonder how much do all bodies have an ability and a capacity with movement? And then like you said, some of us develop it and some of us don't, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um
Totally.
that has always been
Yeah.
a question too. Like, do all like, you know, because people are like, oh, I don't like to do this and I don't like to do that. I'm like, oh, is that really like, is that just your point of view or is that just do? And I know bodies do have a preference for different types of movement. Like you love,
Right.
you know, different types of movement and it
Yeah.
changes, like you evolve over time.
Yeah.
But I also wonder that too, like if all bodies have an ability and capacity with movement, and is it just up to us to actually listen to our bodies?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bodies are like, the design of the body is to move, And I used to, when I facilitated movement, I taught this body work called Nia.
I know.
Um, and there were all these like different really cool kind of like principles that we would study and teach. And one of them was, there was the body's way and your body's way. And the body's way is like kind of understanding the dynamics of movement in the body, and that we have like 13 main joints, if you count the spine as one, although it's a lot of different joints. But we have a lot of joints, we have a lot of different muscles, and there's this like infinite combination of things that you can do with all your joints and your muscles in terms of how you move them, and that, like, if you have an understanding of how the body is designed to move, you can really start to play with that. And then also getting your body's way, like, how is it that your body moves and that your body likes to move and enjoys movement? And I loved that, because it was always like really, like, giving people, sometimes information can be helpful, and so giving people information about movement and the dynamics of it, and how to move that in a way that heals the body and strengthens and all that kind of stuff. And then it's like, so now what's true for you? and what's true for your body, and the pleasure that's available with that is I to me, one of the greatest things about having a body.
Well, I think yes, yes, definitely. Like I can't imagine not being able to move. Like I don't think I'd want to be here for that. But
Yeah.
um so one of the things like I love about like Nia or any of those forms of movement, like ecstatic dance, five rhythms, one of the things I loved about it was that it was an invitation to move in whatever way my body desired to move, but also that it was breaking through any patterns that I'd created in my body of this is how I dance or this is how I move. And I notice a lot of people go, oh, I just like to go walking or I just like to do this. And this is how I
Hmm.
like to do movement. And I'm always asking and discovering even in the dance, because I can even in the dance go, oh, this is how I dance, and this is how I move my hips. Like it just becomes this body memory thing where
Yeah.
you have a memory of how your body moves, and then that's the way you move. But I love to explore, like, okay, body, show me a type of movement or a wave movement that we've never done before. And it may be like just like something very slight and different, but it's like breaking through that pattern of, oh, I've never done this before. Oh, I didn't know you could do this. Cool. Thanks, body. Like, and breaking out of, because it's also for me movement is a great example of what's going on in your life. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know when I facilitate movement classes, a lot of times like I say to people, like, change direction, like go in a different direction. Like you get stuck and you go in the same direction, or you have like, this is my safe zone, or
Hmm.
these are the movements I make because these are the movements I know. And it's like we don't want to actually, like, what would it take to actually explore something different?
Yeah. Yeah, that it's such an amazing way to get into, to create different energetic realities in our body and pathways and all of that. Um and yeah, I mean, our bodies really do love variety. I've been really into ice skating lately, and just did my favorite coach is in Seattle, and I was in Seattle for a week, and so I did lessons with her every day. I was like, I want to like eat up my, time with her that I have available. So I did 6 lessons with her in a week, and I skated like an hour and a half every day. And then one day I was like, I'm going to stay extra, and I skated 2 hours. And by the end of the week, my body was in a lot of pain. And I was like stretching and soaking in the hot tub and getting on the foam roller, and but I came home and I couldn't skate for a while. And it wasn't just sore, it was like, ooh, like that's the beginning of an injury, even kind of a feeling, and it was so cool because I've just been like, okay, body, so it like, if this isn't wrong, and I'm not wrong, and like, what's available here, like what are you showing me? And it's been just asking for different, like, more circular movements, and I've been doing different kinds of yoga and just getting more body work. And it's really cool because I love how those, like, our body can actually show us it's like what it is that we're asking for, and like, I'm always asking for my body to be greater every day, and I know that it can, and it does, and it will. And that's something that just completely fascinates me. And this is a way that my body recently has shown me. It's like, cool, so here's what I'd like to have more of, for now, like some more body work, different kinds of body work, and like different kinds of movement. And maybe you don't ice skate every single day, and maybe and then even like when I went ice skated today, and it was like, I was like, okay, body, show me, like, what do you got? What do you know? Like, what do you want to do? My body was like, let's just play. Like, let's just, instead of like trying to like improve every time I go, like, let's play, you know? So it's amazing how much we can receive from our bodies if we're willing to listen. And so
Yeah.
many, that's just one example, but
Yeah, and I also find too, like, not listening to my points of views, because it's like you have so many points of views of what you do and don't like,
yeah,
and they're all just your points of views. They're
yeah,
probably not even your points of views. They're probably someone else's points of views that you made
yeah.
yours. And for ages, my body was asking for a weight training, and I had all these points of views about the gym, which
Mm,
I'm still not the biggest fan of the gym. And I went to the gym a couple of times. My husband even signed me up on his membership, and I say I went like a couple of times in one year. And it was okay. But so I started asking my body, show me like a way that we can do this that would be fun. And so there is this class at the yoga center where I go to yoga, but it's infrared hot yoga. But then it's also like there's a yoga fit class they do, and it's not yoga at all. It's totally like dumbbells, burpees, like all this stuff. And I love it. Like I love it. Oh my God, I love it so much. And it's so amazing because like it was the energy I was looking for, like with the weights and doing the weight training and strength and getting stronger in my body.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in a way that it's fun for me. So it's in the
Yeah.
environment that I like, it's in the yoga studio with the music, and it's in that space. It creates space for me. And then I also joined down the road here. There's like it's kind of just like a slash fitness, like they do all, like you go in their classes. So I realize I like classes. Like I like going in where there's a trainer and teaching a class. And it's so interesting to watch a lot of the other people in class like hate it.
Mm.
Like they're doing it and like they're pushing through and they're like, like you can all you I have to be aware that I'm really aware when I'm there. Like really aware of their points of views and what they're doing, and they're pushing their bodies, and they're doing a lot of it from judgment, from they need to be different, or they need to lose weight, or they need to whatever. I can hear the need when I go in, and I have to like remember, Amy, we like this.
Yeah.
So I start like I'd be doing like weights and like the burpees with a smile on my face. And it's like staying in my reality and not buying into their reality. And you talked about like the pain in your body, like, and even if I get pain, like also first off, like return to sender. Look, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just attached anywhere I'm trying to heal any of the other bodies. And then another piece that really helped me too was Glenna Rice pointed out to someone in class one day, like, so you're going to the gym, you're working out, you're doing exercises you've never done before because you want to get a stronger body, and now your muscles are hurting. That's part of what you've asked for. Your body's going to be doing what it asked for.
Totally. Totally.
So when I get the pains in my body, I'm like, okay, we're creating what we asked for, and enjoying that, and not like you said, not judging it, not making
Yeah.
it, and being aware when your body wants to go and not do that workout or go for a massage or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have to also be very aware of other people will project their judgments onto you of what you're choosing. And I was even around, with two friends one day, and I said, and they do access, but they still have points of views. And I
Yeah.
something about going to these classes, and the both of them were like, "Ooh, yuck," and I was like, "Oh," like, and then I'm like, "Oh, like, but for them that's horrible."
Yeah.
But for me, it's not. And so I think you have to get really clear with you and not buy into other people's points of views.
Yeah.
They're just points of views.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
even real.
Totally. Yeah. And if you're listening to this and this is maybe your first exposure to access consciousness, we have an amazing tool, and it is, I mean, Amy just mentioned a lot of them, but who does this belong to? Or you can also ask, is this mine? Because so often we're so aware of the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the energetic realities, the physical realities of people around us. And we're so aware, and our bodies are so aware that we take them on as if they're ours. Like you might be feeling something that isn't your feeling, it's somebody else's feeling. Or you might have something going on in your body that it might be your body's awareness of somebody else, or maybe you're healing somebody else. So there's all these ways that we take on the stuff of other people, and our bodies take on the stuff of other people. And it's just awareness. But it's one of, it can also be one of our body's ways of showing us a different possibility. But asking, is this mine? Is this even mine? Or who does this belong to? And like Amy said, return to sender. So, oh, it's not mine. I'm going to return this to sender. Meaning just like, let it go back to whoever I bought it from, and it doesn't, I can acknowledge that I'm just aware, it's not something you have to, because you can't actually handle other people's stuff that you're aware of. You can handle how you deal with your awareness of it by acknowledging that you're aware, but you can't like change it for other people. Other people have to choose to change it themselves.
Yeah, and the thing is, most people in gyms or workout classes or whatever are doing it to get a result. Like they're going there get the result they decided they need to get with their body. But like, where is the joy in movement with that?
Yeah.
And it's like, what if you were the one person in there who was choosing from the joy of movement? Like, are you willing to be that different?
Yeah.
And
And
if
that
you,
is such a gift to the other bodies too. I mean, really such a gift to the other bodies. Like, and people don't even have to know what's going on cognitively, but you start to like when you're being that, you start to show with your body the bodies that are willing to receive a different possibility, and bodies have a consciousness of their own, like they're and we don't realize that. Like we think we need to overpower them and control them and make them turn them into whatever we've decided they need to be. Instead of like, oh wait, my body has its own consciousness, it has like so much awareness, and hey body, what's up, what do
yeah.
you know? Like what's true for you?
Yeah, and even like I remember, like, I'm not the best at like memorizing dance routines. Like that's why I just do a lot of like free flow dancing, like. But I did go to this class, like it was like this burlesque kind of heel, I don't know, I think it was like sexy, flirty burlesque dance class. And the teacher like taught moves, but like I like what I just asked my body like to duplicate like the moves, but not like what her body was doing, like not duplicate her body, but I was like, okay, body, can you just duplicate that?
Mm,
Like the routine she was showing us. And it became a lot easier. So even like whatever movement, like if the teacher is demonstrating, I asked, okay, body, can you duplicate the movement?
mm,
And then actually just ask my body to show me, that rather than me trying to like learn it or get it right. Like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I do that a lot with my coach in
Yeah.
Seattle, my skating coach, and that's why I love her so much, because her body it functions similarly, and my body learns from her body, and so it's so cool when I'm with her. It's like, or even when I'm not, like today, I was like, okay, so like, what do you know about what Heidi knows about this? Like, just asking these questions while I'm ice skating, and like seeing her skate in my head, and then just getting the energy of that, and then being that and doing that, and it's amazing how much ease we can actually create with our bodies when we're willing to function from these crazy tools with them.
Yeah, I found that when I listen to people's heads, I get really lost and confused and don't know what I'm doing and feel stupid and go into the judgment of myself. Like even like if a teacher's like do this and then if I go into their head, forget about it. But if I actually go, okay, don't go into their head, ask your body to duplicate the movement they're showing you, it's a lot easier.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Like for everything. That is a very important tool. Don't go into somebody's head. Don't do it. Don't do
Don't
it.
do it. Don't get lost. You'll get lost in there.
You'll get lost. And then you'll get lost in your own head too, and it won't be
Yeah,
fun.
it's not fun. Yeah.
But that's one of the things that I love about bodies so much, is that it's such an easy way to get out of our head. Like when I used to do somatic psychotherapy, and that was what I did with my clients, was get them into their bodies and into sensation. And then the body could like, it was this like incredible process of the body, like guiding them through their body, showing them where the healing was, whether it was like healing trauma or healing emotional stuff or physical stuff, like just they would just be so present with their bodies that they would get to mindfulness. That was the word that we used at the time, but they would get to this space of mindfulness with their bodies, and their brain would shut off, you
Yeah.
know and then there could be all this unwinding and all this healing and all this awareness, and like just this massive gifting that the body is willing to do if we just get present with it.
I love that you said that. Like, I mean, that's the whole reason I move my body to get me out of my head.
Yeah,
And I mean, now and these days, thanks to access, I don't really have a mind. I don't have the racing mind I used to have, So now I just
totally.
more from the joy of movement and the joy of embodiment. Like movement energizes me. and it just gives me, I love it.
Yeah.
But back in, early days when I was, going through whatever crazy world times, and when I found five rhythms, it was five rhythms was the first like time where I actually was able to get out of my head and into my body with the movement and the dance and the letting go. And that's when I actually started to access like actually healing and getting in my body and actually starting to feel like me again and feeling in my body and a joy. It changed and transformed me in so many different ways. So
Yeah.
I truly believe like that, yeah, movement and anything that gets you in your body, it's profound. And
Yeah.
I actually don't know how, like, you mentioned at the start, I was like, right, recovery for you facilitator, like all addiction, like you do not recover from addiction unless you include the body. Like, I don't know how you recover from anything unless you include the body.
Yeah. Yeah. Truly. Or create anything. Or, I mean, there's a different reality that some people function from that is totally like neck up, and it's like, and as we've seen in the world lately, the past couple of years, it's like that reality is dying a rapid death, like it's not, it really doesn't work, when you don't include the body and you don't ask and you're not present and you're, like, good luck with that, right?
Yeah, there's a line in Embodiment, the Embodiment Manual by Dr. Nain here, and it always sticks with me. The line was, "Until we get the greatness of embodiment, we're gonna keep coming back here."
Hmm.
And I like that was like something that stuck out with me because it was like for so many, for a couple of years, like I just wanted to get off this planet. Like I was like, just get me the fuck off here. I don't want to be here anymore. But I always had this feeling that like I would have to come back again in a way. So it's like, no, you can't. It's just you're gonna have to come back again. So I had that sense of like, well, there has to be something then. Why do I have to keep coming back? And why am I still here? There has to be something. And that's it. Like until you get the gift of embodiment. And we do a lot of work with talk to the entities as well in our classes. And it's like so many beings when they leave their body, they want to come back again.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they left their bodies, but
Yeah.
now they want to come back again. So it's like there has to be a gift to embodiment. Why do we keep choosing it? Why do we keep
Yeah.
back here? You know?
That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah. And then once you get it, it's like, it's fun. I mean,
Yes.
it's really, I love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so great to get to play and explore and experience the world and the beauty and the hedonism and the pleasure and all of that that it has to offer. I mean, I just, yeah, I'm a big fan of having a body.
Yeah, it's always funny to me, because we do 3-day body class, access body classes. There's like a lot of different body classes you can go to in access. And like you and me are always at body classes, you
Yes.
know? And you see all like the people who love bodies come to body classes, like, and then so many people like just dismiss the body classes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you have a body, like what,
Yeah.
you know? Or
Yeah.
they took one body class 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I guess I got it really young that like that the body was the key. Like until you get, like Jane said, until you get the gift of embodiment, like you will never be free. And it's,
Yeah.
it's so interesting because it's like people think, well, when I leave my body, I'll be free. And that's what we're sold from religion and from school and stuff. And it's even, I know growing up Catholic, it's like, oh, when you leave your body and you're dead, you'll go to heaven. Like, you know, but actually heaven is with your body,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. Totally. 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 That's so cool. I
And
love
we
that.
be free when we're without a body, but actual fact, when you have, like you said, the joy of body and embody here with all, and you access all these amazing, incredible things, then you're free,
Yeah.
you know?
Truly, truly. And there's so much that we can, I mean, this is like the beginning of a long conversation, of like so many tools and choices and possibilities for actually really having that sense of creating with your body and the enjoyment of that freedom, and like I said, for me, our body's getting greater every day, like not no such thing as aging, but actually your body getting greater every day, and I love to play with that world, and explore that with my body. And
I was
um
looking at your skin, and when you were talking about the ice skating, I'm like, no wonder you look so young. You're doing fun for your body, and you're like, reverse aging.
I am reverse aging. I quite like it.
No,
Yeah,
and I just want to say too to like anyone listening, like if you are in a place where you don't like your body or you're struggling a lot with your body, like get yourself to a bars class if you haven't yet. Get your bars run. Like, I honestly didn't get the gift of my body really until I started getting my bars run. Um, and I'm really, I have to say, like getting my bars run, getting body work done, getting body processes. We have this amazing body process that you learn in foundation class. It's called MTVSS. I had that run nearly every week on me for the first 6 months that I found access. And then
mm,
I went on and did like a 3-day body class. But like I remember like waking up in the morning and actually like feeling my skin for the first time ever, because I was so in my head, like getting running, like racing through the world with my head. But I have to say, like access, the bars, the body processes, the body classes really bring you so present with your body and actually can start inviting you to the greatness of embodiment if you don't have that yet. It is
totally.
possible for
It
everyone.
it is, and it's not there's not even a destination either. It's like an ongoing
Yeah.
possibility always. So bars, foundation, 3-day body class, these are all access consciousness classes for those of you who are maybe just stumbled upon this podcast and you're not familiar with access consciousness. The 3-day body class does have a prerequisite of the foundation. And Amy is a 3-day body class facilitator. And I just, once again, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do
You're
it. I'm
gonna
going
do
to
it.
create it. Yeah. Yeah.
Why aren't you doing it? Like,
I am. I know. I started like 7 years ago. It's a lot of prerequisites to become a 3-day body facilitator. And I started 7 years ago and I did like 20 classes and then I stopped. So
don't. Yeah, I
getting
stopped.
back on the horse.
Yeah, and also like that thing too of like the like and with the movement, then it's also like what if you actually started to look at, okay, what can I choose today from the joy of movement and body show me? And you could even just get up in the morning and like pod and pock, like destroy and uncreate all your conclusions about every type of movement in the world,
Yeah.
and then ask your body to show you.
Yeah. And pot and pock, if you don't know what that is, it's
Yeah.
the access consciousness clearing statement. You can go to theclearingstatement.com to find out more about that. We won't dive into it right now, but yeah, just letting go of all of your conclusions about all of it and let your body show you a different possibility.
Well, sorry, I just wanted to say that piece too. Let your body show you a different possibility. I did not, like, I didn't even know what a 3-day body class was, Heather. I found access and I saw like a picture of like, someone on a table, someone else being worked on, like basically an image for 3-day body. And I was like, I need that. I don't know what that is, but I need that. And I
Yeah.
saw a body class and I knew I needed body work.
Yeah.
That was my body showing me.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen to my head. I had every reason in the world not to go. I didn't have the money, I had no way of creating money at the time. And then I found out I needed foundation first, and I was like, oh, okay. But I had lots of limitations, but I kept going. I kept choosing it in a way. And it's
Yeah.
like, what if your body can show you like
Yeah.
what it requires to create a greater possibility?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a class that I do called Body Show Me. And we're doing a version of it coming up in mid or January 10th, I think it starts. And I'm actually going to be writing a body book. I have I have so many tools and just things to share of my journey of actually having like pretty severe health problems when I was in high school and college, and pretty sick all the time and all kinds of crazy stuff going on with my body. And then my journey of healing it and bringing in the access tools and creating something totally different. So I'm writing a book about that, and we're going to write it, basically kind of write it as like through this class and with this class. So it's sort of a special edition of Body Show Me. It's a lot lower price point than it usually is. We just want lots of bodies to be there and contribute, and really exploring that reality of our bodies showing us what is actually available, what is possible, what they know, what they desire, how they can become greater, how we can become greater. So a really, really fun conversation.
Love it. Sign me up when we
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, I think it's January 10th.
Yeah, I love
Um,
that. That's
Yes.
great. Like body show me for everything.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody interested in that, the link is heathernichols.com/body show me. And Amy, can you let them know where they can find you for body classes and all kinds of other good stuff?
Yeah, you can go to my website. It's www.amyshine.net, and all my classes are listed there. I have a 3-day body. The next one, actually, I'm going to Egypt. If you've any listeners in
Cool.
February, and then I know I'm going to Michigan in April.
Nice.
Be more added soon. But yeah, um,
Awesome.
thank you for having me on. I love talking about bodies and movements.
I know. Thank you so much. This was great. It's so like packed full of amazing tools and
Yeah.
yeah, energies and all that. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Um, and we'll put all the links in the show notes as well. Yeah, how much fun can you have with your bodies and what else is possible? We'll see y'all next time. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Creation of Living podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and leave me a review. If you would like more, you can find all kinds of resources and upcoming events at heathernichols.com. Until next time, remember, my beautiful friends, the world thrives when you do.